Hello everybody, you're welcome to today's video. Let's talk about a subject which is very common. It's called vocal melismas. Okay, melismas, also popularly known as riffs and runs. These are a group of notes or tones that are sung successively, or number two is a melodic embellishment used to embellish your singing. All right, now the two terms riffs and runs are used interchangeably by people, but they have distinctive definitions to them. All right, so think about you come into a room and the room looks plain, no furniture, no much furniture, no picture on the wall. You'd be like, okay, you know what? This room right now is not really attractive. Okay, so I need to embellish this room. So what do? You put pictures on the wall, you put wallpaper, you make it look nice, you put the right furniture in the right place. That's like what melisma does to your singing, and it's quite common in almost all genres actually. Yeah. So the term riff in rock, pop, or jazz music refers to a repeated pattern typically played by the rhythm section that the lead vocalist or guitarist solos over. A riff can be any short melodic phrase repeated throughout a piece of music. It's short of rhythmic figure or refrain. You will find a riff within a phrase or within a word. A vocal riff is catchy in singing. It is used to complement certain areas in a song or to accent certain areas in a song. So let's listen to an example. I'll sing it on this song, He Who Sits Upon the Throne, an example of a riff. So, He who sits upon the throne, we worship you, we worship you. Did you hear what I did? He who sits upon. Very short, very precise, and it's used to accent that area upon. On the other hand, a run is several notes or tones that are sang successively, either slow or fast, in a certain area of a song, and is usually featured. All right, so let me show you an example using the same song. He who sits upon the throne, we worship you, we worship you. You were there before time began. Oh, did you hear that? Oh, so getting a grip of this may take you a while, but first of all, you need to know your scales, which we'll come to shortly. So unlike riffs, which are short, a run is separate, it's kind of featured. It's longer and it calls attention to the singer as well. It's used to also tell a story in a certain way. Okay, so let's look at some benefits of riffs and runs. Like I already mentioned, it's used to call attention to the singer. It gains the attention, it evokes emotion as well. So another benefit is adding some style in your singing can really help you connect to the audience. So it helps you connect to the audience and give them something new and fresh. Yeah, so when you use riffs and runs, it takes your singing to another level. It makes the singing sound fresh, not like the usual plain singing, but it makes it sound fresh and more attractive. Like, remember the room we just embellished? Yeah. So by tastefully adding some riff here and there, and also by adding runs, your singing can have flair and be exciting and so much more. So riffs and runs, or rather let me say runs, all right, doesn't have to be fast. It's just some singers are fixated in the fastness of it, because the faster you are, it shows you're more skillful. But it doesn't have to be fast to be qualified as a standard riff or a standard runs. All right, it could be slow, it could be fast. Yeah, it still runs. So while doing it fast comes out as pretty impressive, it's not really a necessity. So when you think about it, riffs and runs are basically melodies, all right? And not all melodies are fast. Some are slow, some are fast, okay? And singers who do it fast don't do it just overnight. They develop it by repetition, repeating the same thing. Maybe start slowly, but first you have to understand the notes you're working with, okay? And then you start slowly and build your vocal cords, build the muscles that coordinate singing to be able to do it faster. And with time, anybody can do it. Yeah. So they become easier to do when, like I mentioned before, when you know your skills. All right. So now it's time to dive into some of these skills. All right. Okay. So the first one is the major scale. I'm sure you've heard of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Major scale. All right. You can do your riffs and runs on the major scale, but most times, most riffs and runs are based on the pentatonic scale, which is the next one. The pentatonic scale removes the 4th note and the 7th note. By the way, you can use solfege to, call this note or use numbers. So the same way we have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, you can also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to 1 or 8. Okay, so do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 or 8. All right. Let's hear an example of a runs actually based on a major scale. Are you ready? So let's use the same song as before. He who sits upon the throne, we worship you, we worship you. You were there before time began. Oh. Did you hear it at the end? Oh. You can actually use any vowel. All right. You can do it slowly. You can do it fast. It still runs. So it's based on the major scale because it made use of most of the notes in the major scale, like fa. Yeah, fa. Yeah, that's actually the one it starts on. And I said that because it's different from another kind of scale, which is called the pentatonic scale. The pentatonic scale doesn't have the fa and the ti. Like we have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Remove the fa and the ti and you have the pentatonic scale, which most of the riffs and runs are based on. A lot of singers do it on the pentatonic scale. And when you do it on the pentatonic scale, you don't have to bother about what part of the song the singer or the musicians are playing. Whether they're playing this chord or this chord or this chord. Whatever movement, wherever they are in the song, if you do a runs based on the pentatonic scale, it's gonna work. All right. So I think it's safer, all right, to do most of your riffs and runs on the pentatonic scale, because to do it on a major scale, you have to listen out for where the music is, where the chord is at the moment, to do it on that chord. All right. So an example of riffs and runs based on a pentatonic scale is what I did before. Oh, 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 mi, so, mi, re, do, la, so. Did you notice it doesn't have the fa and the ti? Mi, so, mi, re, do, la, so. I skipped them. Yeah. So most riffs and runs are based on the pentatonic scale. So let's listen to how the pentatonic scale sound. So we have do, do, re, mi, sol, la, do, la, so, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, sol, la, do, la, so, mi, re, do. So there's a final scale. Yeah. I'm gonna show you which you can do your riffs and runs on. It sounds a little more complex because the notes sound like out of this world, like weird. It's called blues notes actually, and this is a little more advanced because of the scale. All right, but with practice again, you can master the scale. So let's listen to an example of a riffs and runs based on a blues scale using the same song, but this time the end of the song. All right, so you were there before time began. Did you hear that? Sounded so nice, right? We can even do a different pattern. You were there before time began. Ooh. Yeah, that's the blues scale. All right, so these are three scales you can actually do your riffs and runs with, but I'll advise you just know the first two because of this third one is a little more advanced. So learn your major scale, learn your pentatonic scale. All right, so that's just how much we can take for today. I hope you learned a lot. Great. So get practicing, because these things don't just happen because you know them. You have to put them to work. And remember, what you sing with, the muscles that coordinate singing, and your vocal cords, they are flesh and blood as well and need to be trained. The more you train them, the more they have the capacity and ability to do what your mind wants them to do. All right, so thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye bye.
You can now extend your voice to reach really high notes. Eliminate voice breakage, become a more confident singer.
With you, I think I'm possible. With you, I think I'm possible.
Develop a rich tone quality, have more control when you sing, and so much more by purchasing a copy of the best and most affordable voice training lesson from our website called Singing with Freedom. Go to www.thevocallexicon.co.uk and click the shop page and select the singing lesson called Singing with Freedom. Congratulations!
Spirit